Welcome to the second episode of Charcast, where we explore games and geek culture in the hills and hollows of West Virginia. I'm Travis Reynolds.
Dave Gilligan.
I'm Doug Dameron.
And we are the hosts of Charcast. We're also staff members for Charcon, which is our game convention, which is what makes this show possible. So, of course, we do a lot of talking about that, plus all the other stuff that is on our mind. So, first thing we're going to talk about on this show is several updates for Charcon. So the first big one is Charcon is in 2 weeks, or just over 2 weeks. It's very soon. There are a lot of things we're going to talk about, so make sure you listen to the whole episode so you can hear about things that are coming up, things you might need to do, things you need to be aware of. So the first thing we're going to talk about after that is, thanks to our great Kickstarter backers, we're going to be able to show a film during Charcon this year. It's going to be Friday night at 8:30 in the Caperton Planetarium at the Clay Center. It's free to all Charcon attendees. If you're not have like a mom or brother or somebody or your kids or whoever who want to come and attend the movie, but they're not attending Charcon, they can get a visitor's pass from Charcon, and the movie will still be free. And the movie we're going to show is Rogue One, a Star Wars story. So be sure to come out and check that out. Plan on going 8:30 Friday night in the planetarium, so go see the movie on the big screen. Should be awesome. Both of our after hours events have new venues this year. Charcon Out Loud, which is our Friday night live music event, is going to happen at the Bakery on Charleston's west side. Really nice music venue. People I know in the music biz say it's basically the nicest music venue in the state now. So great place to host Charcon Out Loud. Charcon After Dark will be hosted at the Charleston Capitol Hotel, which is one of our host hotels. It will be in the basement. It starts Saturday night about 11 o'clock. We'll have some basic drinks like soda and juice and water and some snacks. However, there's no bar, so guests who want to have an alcoholic beverage, an adult beverage of some sort, they'll need to bring their own. That stuff won't be provided. However, some of the highlights will include a DJ and the debut of the soon-to-be legendary Old Crow karaoke show and T-shirts to the first participants that get up and sing with Old Crow. So early performers are rewarded there. Next, our role-playing games last year were in small rooms upstairs, which we initially thought would be really well-suited, but role-playing games were so successful last year that they were basically busting at the seams. So all the role-playing games have moved to a new location. Huzzah!
It's all right, Doug.
Somebody's not with the program.
That's right.
So anyway,
that wasn't rehearsed either.
we think that our role-playing games will be much better this year. Everybody will be happier. Our exhibitor hall is sold out. We don't have any space left. So plan on shopping with those guys. We'll post a list of those vendors sometime this week. We have a math trade running, right, Doug?
Yeah. For those of you that have never participated in a math trade before, basically it's a computer-calculated round of circular trades. You offer up all the things that you don't need. For each of them, you say what you would want for any individual item, and the computer does the rest of the work. And in this case, you don't have to ship anything. You'll meet up with people at Charcon, maybe people that you even know, hand them a game, and someone else will hand you a game in return.
For those of you who Doug lost when he said computer simulated, it's really simple. You just put your old stuff up, trade it for new stuff, but you never trade it for anything you don't want. No risk. They're great.
Yep.
Last thing on my list is the JR and Friends Quick Draw event was a huge success last year. It takes place in the Founders Lounge on Friday at 7. We've got artists in there. Everybody has a chance to get their ticket drawn. They get to yell out a topic. The artists have a few minutes to draw that on their sketch pad at the front, and everybody has fun, and it's enjoyable, and the art gets to go home with some of the attendees. So last year's event was a ton of fun. We're really looking forward to this year's event, and plus in the lounge during that event we have live acoustic music, which is once again thanks to our Kickstarter backers' success. It was a stretch goal for our Kickstarter. Yep. So make sure you stop in and check that out. So that was some Charcon updates, just basically talking about new stuff, changes to things, and now Dave's going to talk about some Charcon news.
So just want to make sure everybody knows pre-registration is open, and also event submissions are open. Those events are rolling in. You can check them out on the catalog. And also the hotel block is still open. So be sure to check all that out. Real important, if they're because the pre-registration is open and the event sign-ups are open, if there are games that you want to get in, it's important that you go ahead and get registered and start signing up now, because people are signing up for games and slots are going to start going. And if you really want to get in the game, you should get in early. Another thing, be sure to just follow us on social media. That's where you're going to see all the updates on Facebook. We also do Twitter and Instagram. And one of the things we have this year, was very popular last year, and it's back again. We have over 80 play-to-win events. So these are games that have been, we work with a group called Double Exposure, and they get the games from the publishers, and you get to play the games and potentially win the games. So we gave a lot of games away last year, and really looking forward to that again this year. So.
You only have to play the game once. You enter your name. We draw a name out of all the names on throughout the weekend, and whoever's name we draw wins.
Yeah, it doesn't get much easier than that. Walk away with a new game. So some of the things we got going on this year, again, just check the schedule, but we have a huge lineup of events from the Pathfinder Society for both Pathfinder and Starfinder, including a big, a large format event on Saturday night at 7. It's Assault on Absalom, and it's a multi-table event. Ranges from characters all the way from level 1 all the way to level 11, I believe. And it's probably going to be a great time. We have some Star Trek role-playing games going on. We have Sparks, which is a Star Wars role-playing game that's always very popular. We have D&D 5th edition. We have Metal Magic and Lore, several events of that, and other indie RPGs. So it is a full slate of RPG events at Charcon this year. And again, as Travis mentioned earlier, it's going to be in a new space.
Huzzah!
Huzzah! Yes. And so we're looking forward to that. Hope that works out real well for us. We're going to have a special area dedicated to the 6 board games from the Spiel des Jahres, both the Spiel des Jahres and the Kenner Spiel. We're going to have to try to have copies of all 6 games available to play all weekend. So we're real happy to provide that. And on Saturday, we've got cosplay, the cosplay video shoot. We've got the adult costume contest. On Sunday, we get the kids' costume contest, and we also have a green screen that's going to be available to attendees to get pictures taken. It's $5 if you want a custom background, but you can always take a picture with the Charcon backdrop, and that would be free.
It's great for your cosplay because you can wear your costume, get your picture taken, have it photoshopped into some super cool background. And now you've got a super cool cosplay picture. So
absolutely, yep. So anyway, I guess the point is, long story short, lots of things going on at Charcon.
40K tournament on Saturday starting at 11 a.m.
That's right.
There's only 12 spots, I think. So if you want to play, like Dave said, make sure you register so you can sign up and claim one of those spots. Don't wait on hotel or pre-reg. Pre-reg will close, I think, the Monday of the show, but there's no reason to wait. You save $5 on registering for the weekend, and who doesn't like $5?
Absolutely.
And that's the only way that you can register for events. And the hotel room block was supposed to already close, and we've got them to extend it once, and hopefully we can again. But it could close any day, so I would advise booking your hotel room. $58 a night at the Quality Inn and Suites, and that includes breakfast. So if you and 3 of your buddies stay there, 3 breakfasts are going to be worth like what, $30, $40. So it's like you're paying $20 to stay the night. Yep. That's $5 a piece. That's $5 a piece, which you saved by pre-registering.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah. Sounds like a deal to me.
It's math. Math is what makes the world go around. All right. Our next topic on our agenda of things to discuss is what have we been playing lately? Doug?
All right. Well, the game that I wanted to talk about this week is Green Deal, published by Karma Games, designed by Juma Al-Juju. It is an economic game. It's got a form of drafting. Basically, Everyone has a wheel where they can dial in their bid for how many coins they want to spend on the turn. Based on who spent the most coins, they get to take cards from a face-up display. The display is made up of like 7 decks. Each deck has a certain type of card. One of the types of card is loans. So every loan of the game is different. You get money, you've got to pay it back, different punishments for not paying it back. But beyond that, mostly what you're doing is increasing your strength in various categories, whether it be economics or environmental or research and development. And you're competing on these charts a lot like the temple tracks in Terra Mystica or the temple tracks in Sulkin, right? So at various points throughout the game, you'll see who's at the top of certain tracks and get points based on that. You'll also get points for being at certain benchmarks throughout the game. But the most interesting part is the world map, where anytime you buy a card, every card has a level. So if you buy a level 9 green card, you put it on the map, and it goes next to other tokens that are on the same world map. You compare it to tokens that are of the same color, and it's almost like an abstract game. And what you're doing is you have to decide when you place it if you're going to be competing or cooperating with everybody of the same color that you touch. And you can't pick and choose. If you're going to compete, you're competing with everyone. So if you choose compete, if you place your level 9 token next to a level 2, you will make 7 profit, the difference. And if you choose to cooperate, both you and the other player get the average of the tokens.
I would cooperate with you.
Well, you would cooperate if you had a level 2 token and you put it out.
No.
Okay, well,
Probably not.
then you'd lose money.
Well, that's all right.
So, Green Deal published by Karma and designed by
Juma Al-Juju,
Zuma Al-Juju.
the designer of Clans of Caledonia. That's pretty hot right now, so
Yeah.
that's why it was on my mind.
That one I've played.
Yeah,
I have not. I haven't played either.
Yeah, I like that one.
it's like an easier Terra Mystica, in my opinion.
What happened?
Well, somebody showed up with a big handful of board games.
Shut up, Doug.
Yeah, shut up.
Earlier, we mentioned that we will have 80-plus play-to-win games at Charcon this year. Well, in the meantime, some of them have arrived, and they're on the table, and there's so many of them, you probably can't even see us. We're back here behind all the games.
Let's see. Healthy Heart Hospital, Word Slam, Drop It, Stadium, Ice Cool, Karuba the card game. What else?
Doodle Rush, Konex, Zombie Terror.
Ragers, Little Drop of Poison.
Palaces, I know, is up there.
Oh, worst game ever. Drop It.
Paramedics.
Paramedic Clear.
Yes.
Yeah. And this is just part of the play-to-win games we'll have this year. So somebody wins all these. You play it once, your name goes in the ad, we draw your name out, you get to take it home. So hopefully you're looking forward to a chance to win these and many other play-to-win games. We're back. We had some technical issues. Our clothes got covered in things and we had to change. In reality, this is a different day and we had to come back to refilm. But it's the illusion of magic technology. All right, so now Dave is going to talk about what he's been playing. And
Yeah, so the game that I've been playing lately, or that I've played lately, I've played it a couple times now, and you've actually had a chance to play it. And that is Viral from Arcane Wonders, and it is designed by Gilles Doré and Antonio Susalara. It plays 2 to 5 players, plays in about an hour to an hour and a half.
and it's part of the Dice Tower Essentials line.
It is part of the Dice Tower Essentials line. Thank you for reminding me. So anyway, Viral is, in the game, you're playing viruses and you're infecting a body. It's very abstract. The body is made up of several parts, zones they're called. So there's the brain, the heart, the lungs, the pancreas and liver, the digestive tract, and the kidneys. And it's an area majority game. So what you're doing is you're trying to get the majority in the different organs. You can spawn new viruses. You can attack other viruses. You can absorb other viruses. You can use a magnetism power to push people away or pull people into the organ. The scientists are trying to find a cure for the patient, and if you're doing well, you're going to be earning victory points by having the majorities, but that's also going to move you up a track that is going to eventually cause a cure for your particular virus. And at that point, you remove all of your viruses from the board. So there's kind of a natural catch-up mechanism there. It's card play. On your turn, you play 2 cards. One shows what actions you're going to be taking. The other one shows where they're going to occur. You go around the table. You take the actions. You do that a second time. That's a round. You're scoring points each round. You're getting new cards with new powers. And eventually, after 6 rounds, the game's over, and whoever has the most victory points is the winner. So I quite like the game. It's a little chaotic. It's a little bit hard at first to grasp the movement because it's a circulatory system. It's like the body, so the heart goes to the different parts, but you can't go from, for instance, the kidneys is the last stop, and it goes and circulates right back to the heart. So the movement is kind of a little odd at first, but once you get the hang of it, I find it quite interesting. So overall, I really like the game.
I thought it was a good game. I enjoyed it. The movement is a little counterintuitive until you kind of figure it out. I thought the whole game was really about figuring out the best way to use a card other than the organ you want to score to get influence in the organ where you want to score. That's what it's all about. I mean, if you want to score the brain or you want to score the heart, you need to keep that card in your hand and use something else to get influence, to get viruses into those organs, so that then you can play the card that you need to either up your influence or shield your viruses, or what's the one where you bring them all together? What's that one called? Absorbing.
Yeah.
To where you can take some other action by using the actual card. Otherwise, somebody's going to counter what you did the first time.
Right.
So that, to me, that was really the big strategy of the game. I liked picking up the extra cards and added the new cards. You could either go with cards that give you lots of cool stuff, or you could go with trying to score points, which I think in our game, scoring points was what you scored more points on those, and that won you the game. I think.
That pushed me over the top. So yeah, you do score. You get the cards that have powers on them, but they also have points. The ones that have stronger powers are worth less points. Now, the first game I played, the winner basically took all of the high point cards and blew us out of the water at the end of the game. And so I think this game, the game we played, it was a little more evenly balanced.
Yeah, it was pretty close. I mean, I think, it was pretty close.
Yep. So.
And Doug, you haven't played Viral?
No.
Have you had a virus?
Once.
Well, you had a virus
once or twice.
How was that?
Delicious.
Delicious virus.
Yep.
I mean, what other word works, right?
Right.
But
So-
that's Viral.
So that was Dave's game, Viral. So my game was Riverboats, which was published by Mayfair, and it's Michael Kiesling, right?
Yes.
So might be one of, if not the last game Mayfair publishes, because we all know they were acquired by Asmodee back several months, 6 months ago, or however long. So in Riverboats, we all are, I guess, plantation owners or farm owners or whatever, and we're planting crops in our fields, harvesting those crops, put on boats to send down the river to New Orleans. The method of this game is you have 5 actions, and each turn players are going to choose an action until they're all gone. So some players may get more actions than others, but everybody gets to act on every action. It's just the person that has the action is going to get a little something extra out of it. I really like several parts of this game. The part of planning your field, it's kind of a go around the table and take a tile. The tiles come in 1, 2, and 3 cluster tiles.
Hexes.
Hexes. They're hexes, so there's either 1 hex, 2 hexes, or 3. The 3 hexes cover up more of your terrain, which is good. You need that. But you also need to create clusters of the same type of crop in order to get the big points and score and really benefit. So there's a fine balance there of taking the big threes that fit and cover up a lot of space, or taking the smaller ones that are going to fit. I really like that part. Then another one of the actions is going and collecting boats, and that kind of works hand in hand with, there's beside your farm there's a dock, and you have a dock worker that moves along the dock, and every time you acquire a riverboat, it docks at your dock, and at the end of the game, whoever's worker moved the farthest, they're going to score full points for their boats, and everybody else only scores half.
Right.
So I like that. There's these, what are they, like mission cards or objective cards or whatever?
Yeah. I believe so.
They're a way to score, and you get a bonus by taking them. That part's neat. And then also you can send workers to New Orleans to be in your house in New Orleans, and they're going to score in-game points, but once they're gone, they're no longer available to work in your fields. So there's a balance there of, do you send them or to score at the end, or do you wait? Anyway, I really enjoyed Riverboats. I know Dave has also played it.
Yeah, I quite liked it. I thought the action selection mechanism was interesting. Like Travis said, there's 5 different actions, and on a turn, each player's going to basically draft some of those actions. It was a clever mechanism. The game was 4 rounds? It's 4 rounds and five actions each round. Everybody's going to take the 5 actions.
That sounds right.
Played in about an hour. Lots of ways to score points. It's one of those games where it's very difficult to gauge who was actually winning at any given point, because you could look and you could see, well, he's doing well, planting his crops, or he's got a lot of riverboats. But, I've got a lot of guys in New Orleans, and you're not exactly sure how the in-game scoring is going to turn out.
Yeah, and sometimes it's tough to tell where you should be investing your focus. But
right.
In case you're curious, I won.
Yeah, you won. That's true. So
and I've not played because we never end up sitting at the same table.
Right. So I won viral, you won riverboats.
Right. So. Doug, have you ever been on a riverboat?
Yeah. It was delicious.
It was delicious.
You and Lonely Island, I guess.
That's right.
Okay, so that's our games that we have been playing lately. So comment in the comments and tell us what you've been playing lately. Okay, so in this segment we have guests, and last week we had Jason Matthews. He was on electronically and on video, and he talked to him. But this week we're lucky enough to have a guest here in our fabulous studio with us. Our guest is game designer Tim Phillips. How are you, Tim?
Doing good. Thank you for having me.
Sure. Glad you're here. So Tim's got a game that has been published with Mr. B Games, and he's got another one on the way, and like 1 million that he's got designed. There's anywhere from a thought to written in a notebook to made a prototype. He's got all sorts of stuff going on, right, Tim?
Yes, sir. Exactly.
So we're going to do what we do with our guests, and we're going to go through some questions and have some conversation, and hopefully we can have a good time here. So Dave's up first.
So Tim, like Travis alluded to, you've got a game design already published as Author and Invasion with
Yes,
Mr.
sir.
B Games, and you've got another one coming out soon. But really, what motivated you to get into game design?
Well, when I grew up, board games was what our family did. We had the typical classics, Monopoly, Scrabble, and you can only play so much Monopoly. So my friends and I started making up our own games. We combined Monopoly and Risk, and instead of buying territories, you had to fight over them. I'll never forget the Battle for Park Place. Great fun. And then we just started making up our own games. After graduating college, I left the area, and I wasn't aware of any gamers in the area. And through my employer, I managed to get involved with a group of local gamers, and one of them was a game designer, and it just got the ball rolling again.
Well, that's awesome. Yep. Now you've got a couple games under your belt. That's great.
Yes, sir.
Hopefully more to come.
So you're talking about games you grew up with. What is your favorite game? Game you grew up with, a game that's your favorite now? What is your favorite, and why is it your favorite?
From games growing up, probably still my favorite is Axis and Allies. I loved Risk. Risk was a lot of fun, but there wasn't a lot of variableness to it. And I'd never thought of a game where you had different strengths for different units and different roles. How infantry would attack on a 1 but defend on a 2, and tanks attack on a 3 but defend on a 2. And just the whole idea of all the variable components in the game just really got me going down the gaming road.
So you're saying Axis and Allies was better than Risk? Yes, it was.
Yes, I think so.
But Dave, tell us about your famous. Didn't you have a famous Risk game where you and Paul Ellis almost killed each other?
I think, yeah, that's something like that. I think some dice.
How many dice? Thrown dice.
Yeah.
But wasn't there like how many legendary missed defend rolls for Alaska or something?
10.
It was a lot.
It was bad. It was very bad.
Yeah.
Risk is still a lot of fun, but yeah, and I don't mind a good dice fest at all, but sometimes it just does not work out.
Played
right.
a lot of Axis and Allies.
Any that was growing up. Any games now that you'd say are your favorite, or?
Well, right now my favorite game is from Queen Games. It's called Glukes. I learned it last year. Really good strategy game, light and easy. Well, it's easy to learn, but my gosh, there's so many strategies. It's very, very good game for thinking. Power Grid. Power Grid is a lot of fun. I really like the auction mechanic in that. It's probably my favorite. I played a game 4 or 5 years ago, and I've only played it once. It was a lot of fun. It was called El Grande.
Yeah.
And El Grande was, for the longest time, probably my favorite.
Gotcha.
Have you used the promo for Glutz?
Yes.
I haven't. I haven't used mine. How do you like it?
It's okay. It's okay. I still haven't quite figured out how to work the zero in strategically yet. And of course, when I'm playing with friends and family and teaching, I leave those out, just going with the base set.
Okay, so we'll move on. Our next question is, what can you tell us about the exciting world of movie auditing?
Movie auditing. It will keep a person busy. You know, a lot of people don't know this, but theaters are contractually obligated to show certain previews of coming attractions or trailers with films. And they get audited. And I started doing this back in college and basically getting paid to go to the movies. And the first time I saw it, I said, this has got to be a gimmick. And first movie that I ever audited was Firebirds with Tommy Lee Jones and Nicolas Cage. I think it was like May of 1990. And I did it just, again, a little bit of extra money. When you're in college, you take every extra dollar you can get. Right. And I did it probably for 15 to 20 years. And an opportunity came available to go to work for one of these companies full time, scheduling people to get people to go to the theaters. And so they asked me if I wanted to come work with them. And I said, sure. So right now I'm in charge of 10 states. Each week I have anywhere from 150 to 300 theaters that we have to get people to go to the movies.
Huh. It's interesting.
Yeah. All right. So,
let's see. So, you went to Origins with us this year.
Yes, sir.
And you worked in the Queen Games booth, taught a lot of games. But was there anything that you saw at Origins, games or otherwise, that stood out for you?
Yes and no. Again, I get fascinated easily. When I find a game that I like, it'll absorb my attention. And truthfully, my favorite games from Origins this year were, again, Queen Games. I remember being told years ago about a game called Fresco. Mm-hmm. And when I was told the theme of the game, I'm like, nah, that's probably not for me.
Painting the Sistine Chapel.
Painting the Sistine Chapel.
Right.
But I got to learn the game so I could teach the game. And some of the mechanics in it are just fantastic. It's got probably some of the best supply and demand and worker placement I've played. And then also, because I like Glukes so much, I got to learn Maharani. Mm-hmm. And it's another strategic puzzle type game, and it's just great. So those are my favorites.
Well, that's pretty cool.
Coming back around to movies, in fact, well, you mentioned Nicolas Cage. You have a daughter that's an actress. She's been in a Nicolas Cage movie. I don't guess you've met him, did you?
I did not get to meet Nicolas Cage, no, sir.
Do you have any on-set stories that are interesting and worthwhile?
Well,
it better be good.
Yeah, thankfully for my daughter, they don't let me near the set. I can sometimes sit out in the trailer or stuff like that far away. Most of my experiences involve driving her there, dropping her off, and then going shopping at the movies and coming back. So
You'd be the hit of the set if you were there, right?
I think so.
Seems like they'd be inviting you to be on the movie.
You play board games.
I could teach them board games.
Right.
All the
They don't want you to upstage anybody. These
that's
people
right.
have egos.
That's right. Matthew McConaughey probably couldn't handle me being there.
Right.
Handsome guy.
So next question we have is, how the heck did you manage to get someone to publish not one but two of your crappy games?
It's better to be lucky than good.
I say that all the time.
Yeah, it really is. No, the first game that got published literally came up with it in one night and took it to work the next day. I had a bunch of guys and we'd pile in the lunchroom and we'd try it and there's something missing. And I went home again that night and added one more component to the game and took it back to work the next day. Said, hey guys, let's try it this way. And we all fell in love with it. We played it for a few months. One of my really good friends got to try it, and he said, hey, I think I know somebody that might be interested. That really good friend, by the way, is Mr. Reynolds over here. And so he contacted Sean Brown from Mr. B Games, and Sean liked the game. And so he took my prototype, was just a simple, my naming on games is horrible. I called the game Robots versus Aliens. And Sean liked it. And so he took it and fit it into his Zothran universe from Alien Uprising and made it kind of a sequel to it. And he called it Alien Uprising Zothran Invasion. And I think it was at Gen Con, no, it was Origins last year. He just asked me, you have any other games coming up? And so I showed him another one that I'm working on, and he really liked it.
And that's stacked, right?
That'll be stacked.
And people probably could play that at Charcon, right? You'll have it with you?
It will be at Charcon, and I hope everyone will come try it out.
It's not published yet, but it's going to be, and they can play your prototype there.
That is correct. I talked to Sean at Origins, and the goal is to actually have the Kickstarter up for that by the end of October, early November of this year.
Fantastic.
All right, our final question is, who would you say is the best employee you've ever had who works at a German board game company?
There's actually several, but some of them might actually just be volunteers. So I guess if it's an employee of a board game company, it's probably Travis Reynolds.
Seems like a given.
Yeah, I would say so.
So Tim, what else do you have maybe coming up? And we talked about the two that are published. What's the next game you're working on that you're excited about?
Well, actually, I've got 4 games, 2 that are ready to be shown, 2 that I'm wrapping up, and like you said, I've got a notebook with about a dozen ideas in it. One is a word game. I've actually had it for a couple years, rolling dice, kind of the marriage of Scrabble and Yahtzee. I've got, because my naming talents do not exist, I have an unnamed abstract strategy game where through tile placement, you're basically racing to connect a bunch of objectives. It kind of has a maybe an Othello component to it because you can capture each other's tiles, and the objective is to draw long lines connecting towers. Then I've got 2 zombie games that I'm working on because you can just never have enough dead zombies in the world. I've got a zombie defense game, which it works perfectly for 4-player. When I scale it down to 3 or 2, the players always die or the players always win. I have not quite tuned it in, but it's close. And then I'm starting another horror theme game. I called it Zombies, but really it'll have zombies, vampires, and skeletons. It's going to be kind of a dungeon crawl where you're trying to find the vampire casket before sunset.
Cool. Okay, well, Tim, thanks so much for joining us. When our show here becomes really big and famous, everybody will say, Tim Phillips was the second guest on that show.
Right.
That's right. And I'll sell autographs to anybody that wants them.
Yeah, sure. There you go. Get an autograph from Tim at Charcon and play stacked.
For a nominal fee.
For a nominal fee. All right, our final segment on our show is a regular segment we're going to do. It's called What's in Shrink. Last week we looked at the Gallerist, which is a great game that I, for some reason, still have in Shrink. This week we're going to look at Ba-Bam! Scythe, which I still have in Shrink. It's from Stonemaier Games. It's a great game. We have all played it. Tell us what you think, Doug.
I think it's a clean 3.5x game. They call it a 4x, but I don't feel like there's any exploration, really. There's expansion with a solid and intuitive action selection mechanism, and it avoids the pitfalls of some other games in the genre where it has a solid combat system. Ripped off from one of my favorite games, Doom. Not quite ripped off. It's not the same.
Borrowed.
Borrowed.
Right.
It's the sincerest form of flattery, Doug.
It is.
Dave, what do you think?
So I played Scythe a couple times now. The game is it actually plays 1 to 5 players. I'm not sure how the solo mode works, but it plays about 2 hours. And like Doug said, the action selection mechanism in the game is very interesting, but it's also very intuitive. I mean, the game looks heavy, it looks very complicated, but the actions make sense. It plays well. Everything you're doing just seems to flow properly throughout the game. So I quite enjoy it. Now, the one thing I'd say, the production on this thing is fantastic. I mean, the mechs for each faction are different, and the different character miniatures are well done. And yeah, I'd like to see a painted copy of it myself. But yeah, I really like the game. It's definitely an excellent game.
Yeah, I agree. I was going to talk about the miniatures too. I think the faction miniatures are really nice. All the mech miniatures are really nice. Love to have it painted. If you're a miniatures painter and you want to come and play this at Charcon, I'll loan it to you after we leave, and you can take it home and paint it and then bring it back to me. And you'll get to enjoy painting a copy of Scythe, not just playing it.
That's right.
The miniatures are awesome. The production value in this game is very high. I think it's really neat. The art on this is very good. And the game was inspired by the art. That doesn't happen very often. The art existed, and they kind of built a game around the art. So I think it's a great game. Yeah. I enjoy playing it, and I'll probably play it more often after one of you take it out of Shrink at Charcon and play it. So,
and that's likely. It's one of the most popular games in our survey of
our Kickstarter VIPs.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It was one of the more commonly listed. So there you go. Come to Charcon, play Scythe, take it out of Shrink. So that'll wrap up our second episode of Charcast. We're going to try to record another episode before the show so we can give you any last-minute changes, updates, insight, what to do, what to plan on, give you all the scoop. But in the meantime, pre-reg closes soon, event submission closes soon. The hotel room block is technically already closed once. We've had to extend it. Make sure you book your room. Quality Inn and Suites is only $58. That's cheap. What do we say? 3 breakfasts. It includes breakfast of you and 4 of your friends. $10 a piece. That's $40. Save $5 a piece to pre-register because it'll cost you $5 more at the door. 4 times 5 is 20. That's $60. So it's like you're making $2 just to get a hotel room. Yeah. So do that now. That's math.
Exactly.
So anyway, until our next episode, I'm Travis.
I'm Dave. Oh.
Go ahead.
I'm Dave.
I'm Doug.
And we'll see you then. Huzzah!
Huzzah!
No.